on or off?
It's on.
Yes, come. But here I am, but I'm going to mention something that there's some people here don't like warn you ahead of time. I'll just show you the picture and then you'll know what I'm talking about.
Readjusted.
You never saw that.
That's very insightful. I agree. I can understand. It's not a not able. I don't think it's because the kids are.
Last one, she has because they see that they're sitting down and they're definitely not there, so
It's reorganizing.
Yeah, my one son-in-law did that.
Is that what you teach now? That's a if you want to use it too. Generally, what they struggle with.
Well, I think actually that because I've seen that, but some of the
I've got to ask you to come and answer some questions.
Good evening. I am Belinda Wallen, Board Secretary for Gettysburg Area School District. At this time, as Board Secretary, I'll gavel the meeting to order. And so as I call this meeting to order, this is the annual reorganization meeting of Gettysburg Area School District Board of School Directors. So we'll proceed now with the roll call. And if you could please, I'll note that all are in presence. I believe online we have Mr. Morris as well as Mr. Dickerson. Is that correct?
Can we make sure we can hear them?
Yep. This is Mike Dickerson. I'm here. This is Ryan Morris. I'm here.
Great, thank you. So all are present. The recording secretary, please make note of that. As part of our reorganization meeting, we move forward to the public comment. Excuse me. Thank you. So, do we have any public comment?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, December 5, 2022 meeting of the school board. We have three individuals that have asked to address the board this evening. We'll start with Carol Reppert.
Is this on or do I have to press the button? It's on? Okay. Good evening. My name is Carol Reppert. I come here with a purpose, but first ask that you allow me to reminisce just a little. I'm a graduate of Gettysburg High School, class of 1971, and I know it ages me quite a bit. I started my educational studies at Franklin Township Elementary. Our little school initially had no library. This little girl loved to read. Since we didn't have a school library, our mother would take us to the bookmobile, which visited Cashtown every 2 weeks. There I would get a stack of books to read until the next visit. I also got the book series, The Happy Hollisters, about a family who loved to solve mysteries. I look forward to each book. I think I was in 4th grade when Franklin Township got a library. I can't remember the exact date. I recall that the first library was located across the hall from the principal's office. My mother was the librarian there for many years. She remembers placing the first library books on the shelves, 6 books. She cataloged all the books into that file that most of us older people will remember. The role of the school librarian has changed a lot since my mother worked there. I hope that school librarians will always preserve that love for reading, as well as guide students who may not have that love learn the wonder of reading. I never lost that love for reading, but life had a habit of getting in the way. Didn't seem to be as much fun reading because I had to when I was in college. Being retired, I now find more time to read for pleasure. Now for the point of my talk. I would like to present a complete set of Tuttle Twin books to each of the elementary schools in the district as a gift from Adams County Moms for Liberty to place in their school library. There are 12 books in this series, and I've personally read all 12. These books are interesting for young readers because they talk about real-world concepts including economics, government, and personal responsibility. My personal favorite of the series was the Miraculous Pencil. These are the 12 books in the series. My favorite was this one called The Miraculous Pencil. Does anyone know how a pencil was made? A pencil, something that every elementary school student uses, and we probably use too. Neither did the Tuttle twins. While there, they learned all the different things and all the people, jobs, and work that was involved to make a simple pencil. From the wood to make the pencil, the graphite that goes in the pencil, the paint that goes on the pencil, the eraser that goes at the end of the pencil, and the ferrule, which I did not know until I read the book, that's the metal thing that holds the eraser under the pencil. It's called the ferrule. A simple lesson on the economy. I hope the children will enjoy them. I'll close with a quote from American author Ursula K. Le Guin. If a book told you something when you were 15, it will tell you again when you're 50, that you may understand it so differently that it seems like you're reading a whole new book. Thank you for your time, and I hope the students enjoy the books.
Carol, thank you very much. And I also remember the bookmobile. And also, I just would like to say on behalf of the school board and the Warrior staff here at Gettysburg, we thank you for the donation from you all. Many thanks. Next, we have Mr. Harry Hartman.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Bear with me, I'm not as good of a public speaker I used to be after the strokes. So, I wish Mr. Dickerson and Mr. Morris were here in person, because some of my remarks certainly address some of their issues. Let me start with Mr. Ryan Morris, as he continues to vote to spend our tax dollars, even though he owes the school district and other taxing bodies in Adams County more than $40,000 in past due taxes. By the way, those past due tax debt does not stop Mr. Morris from a recent trip to Europe and multiple trips to Florida. He is essentially spending our tax dollars on worldwide travel. The taxpayers are being forced to trust the financial decision-making of a man who recently filed for personal bankruptcy and a few months ago filed for business bankruptcy. Now, Mr. Morris has hired a member of this school board in Michelle Smyers. I would think there'd be some type of conflict of interest issue here, as Morris could easily hold Smyers' job over her head if she does not vote how he says. I will let your solicitor address that issue in the future. Now we need to talk to Mrs. Smyers. Mrs. Smyers was let go as a contracted employee in the Upper Adams School District recently. Smyers allegedly inappropriately accessed the security cameras at one of the district schools, and then decided to allegedly harass teachers and students. In her own words, which I have a copy of, if you'd like to see them, in the review of them, Mrs. Smyers admits that accessing these cameras was a quote-unquote huge mistake. but also admits she has other photos and possible videos in her possession that she is holding for future use. From what I understand, state and local law enforcement teams are investigating those actions. In the goodness of my heart, I'm going to assume that this board does not know the reasons behind Smyers' dismissal as a contracted employee in the Upper Adams School District. I hope members of this board realize how dangerous Smyers' alleged actions were regarding the school cameras. Anyone accessing school security cameras in a public school building is committing a dangerous, stupid, childish, selfish, and illegal action. By allegedly accessing these security cameras, they could have been turned off, or the camera system could have been damaged, leaving the school building and anyone inside it in danger. Or access these cameras could knowingly, unknowingly, could have been given to others inside or outside school. Mrs. Myers, any legal repercussions you receive based upon your alleged actions are certainly warranted. If I were a parent or teacher or student in this building, I would have already contacted local law enforcement and a lawyer to go after you for endangering me or my child. I also hear that some of the students and staff Myers allegedly harassed may be filing criminal complaints against her. This board does not have a good representative in Mrs. Myers, and I would question, as she is a school board member, what does stop her from accessing the security cameras within this district? She has already allegedly done it in another school district. Mrs. Myers, the local chapter of the national organization you represent, Moms for Liberty, has done some great things in our county and nationally. I will continue to support that organization because it does do some really good things, especially some they did tonight earlier. Based upon your actions, you have damaged the reputation of the local and national chapter of the Moms for Liberty. There's an old saying, one bad apple spoils the bunch. Mrs. Myers, you've spoiled the bunch. By the way, Michelle, now that you're employed by Morris and Tripwire, you may want to keep an eye on your employer, as he is allegedly accused in the past of withholding employee taxes and not getting to the IRS in a timely manner. If he promised you a retirement package, you might want to make sure he's putting that retirement money into your account. Also, past employees have accused Morris of not getting their W-2s to them in a timely manner. You might want to keep an eye on that. Mrs. Smyers, Morris is setting up a new Florida tripwire operation. Will you be moving to Florida with him by any chance? Mr. Morris, your organization supposedly works with law enforcement. Hiring someone who is maybe facing criminal charges does not speak well for your relationship with law enforcement. Speaking of rotten apples, I think you have two on this board. Mr. Dickerson, who's not here tonight, you asked me a question several months ago asking me if I was considering running for school board. Following the actions of several members of this board and some of the actions of previous meetings, I can guess you can answer your own question. What I can promise you, if I am elected to this board, nothing will be off the record for the taxpayers. Nothing. The taxpayers will know everything. By the way, I'm pretty sure that I will do a better job than at least one of your members because I won't be accessing security cameras in schools.
And our final person this evening, Mr. Dan Mao. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully I can go through this fairly quickly, and I'm not here to bash anybody, so if I say something that might rub you the wrong way, not intentional. I did have, and I've had in the past meetings with your liaison, Amy Beth, to talk about school issues. That's what we talk about. And recently we had a meeting and a few different topics came up, and I said, well, tell you what, I've never been to a Gettysburg School Board meeting. Why don't I just come and we'll talk about them there? And if you have questions that I might be able to answer, I'll certainly give it a shot. Got to understand, I don't sit on education in Harrisburg. I am the chairman of the Agriculture Committee. So I have to learn as I go, just like everyone else. But the first issue that came up was budget timing. Okay, now as you people very well know, our budget by the Constitution is June 30th. Okay? In order to change that, we'd have to change the Constitution. However, we don't always follow the Constitution where I work. As you very well know, we had one in not too many distant years ago that went into October and November, I believe, before we came to a conclusion and ratified a budget for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So we know that you have to have your budgets figured out before we figure ours out. Therefore, you can't possibly know. You can only take a shot, a guess, at what you're going to get from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania with the federal money when you make your budget. We know that. My only suggestion along these lines would be to base your budget, because of the hold harmless clause, on what you got last year. Add 1% or 2%, because I don't think you've ever gone backwards because of the hold harmless clause. You can only go forward with funding. So I would recommend that you base this year's budget off of what you got last year, with maybe 1% or 2% added in, and anything more than that that you would receive, you could use for your emergency, kitty, put it wherever you need to put it. But I wouldn't overguess on the number that you're getting from the Commonwealth. This past year, we had a very lucrative budget. As a matter of fact, I'm relatively sure that, I can say in your basic education funding, you got a 20.8% increase in your basic ed funding, which amounted to $1,773,000. That's pretty daggone good. But that's unusual. That's why I say only throw a couple percent in. Okay? But that way you would be safe. I can't change the Constitution. And you can't change your timelines on account of when your tax bills have to come out. So I can only suggest that you go down that road. I know it's uncomfortable, but what's your budget, about $72 to $74 million a year in this school? If I have it in here somewhere, but you're roughly in that. So if a normal year, you got half of that's $800,000, and you budgeted a couple extra percent over last year's basic education funding, I think you would be really, really safe. And in the scheme of a couple million dollar budget, it's like a BB on a 4-lane highway. So I think that you would be safe in going down that road. One of the things I wanted to bring to your attention that I'm probably going to need your help with, okay? And this, according to the American Battlefield Trust, they never even gave it a thought, and they never heard from Gettysburg School District. You're losing money. I almost wanted to come here tonight and say you're being cheated out of money, but I guess it's not cheated. You're just not getting money that you should be because of what they're doing. Is everyone in here familiar with the American Battlefield Trust? They used to be called the Civil War Trust. And for years and years and years, they've been buying property in and around town, turning it over to the federal government, trying to add it to the battlefield. Now, there's nobody in here that's going to say, I don't like our history and I don't like our heritage. We all love it. But every time they take a piece of property off the tax map, guess who gets hurt? You do. I went to battle with them. I started, I want to say 3-4 years ago, could be 5 or 6. Life is just flying by so fast. I come to realize it when they took down the motel and the Appalachian Brewery out on Lincoln Way West, where General Lee's headquarters is. And then they demolished the buildings. They bought the property, demolished the buildings, and guess what? As soon as the federal government takes that over, you get no tax off of that. As a matter of fact, it's already been lowered because there's no buildings on it anymore. Not to mention the fact that they displaced many employees that worked at that hotel, especially throughout the summer. To cut right to the chase, American Battlefield Trust, and we just did a very quick rundown of parcels that they have purchased over the years, and I've got pages of them. People don't realize just how many it is, but this number here ought to strike you. The amount of tax revenue that we're not receiving anymore because of the properties they take down, and that doesn't count this doesn't count these last two. They just took them, when I say took down, purchased. The World War II Museum across from Pike Restaurant, and now they're buying General Pickett's restaurant, the buffet, okay? What we have found annual taxes due that are not being collected at this point per year is $923,109.22, almost just shy of $1 million a year. So I went to battle with them, and it's been a war over the past few years. And what I've been demanding, as much as I can demand, is that they pay 20 years, they escrow 20 years worth of taxes upon the purchase to ease the pain to the taxpayers. And I explained it to them like this. Every time you purchase a property and give it to the federal government, some little old lady has to have her taxes raised to cover that tax money that you're no longer paying, that property is no longer producing. And if you can pay $2.2 million for a property that's only listed on the county tax rolls of $600,000, you can surely muster up another $200,000, $230,000 to pay the taxes on that property for 20 years so that the school, the county, and the township or municipality is made somewhat whole. It can't go in perpetuity, but I thought 20 years was a good number. And at least eases the pain, because we do have people in this area cutting their medicine in half so that they can save money, so that they can pay their taxes and feed their family. We do have that right here, right under our nose. So what they're doing, yes, it's good for history and heritage, but it's also hurtful to our community. They had no idea that you people existed. They sent a whole team up to my office 6 months ago. And when I started talking about school taxes, they said, well, the boroughs asked us for money for a police car, and Cumberland Township has asked us for a donation, but schools never approached us. Now you know. Now there's no reason for you to not get behind me on this crusade and say, enough's enough. They got $535,000 in a grant from DCNR. That's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's your state tax money. I tried to stop that grant, but they had already sent the letter out before I realized they were getting it. And I told these people straight up, if you don't want to work with me, which they made us 2 offers on the last 2 properties to go 10 years. I said no, because I don't want to fight this fight every single time you buy a piece of property. I want something written down that goes in perpetuity, that you're going to, a formula, so to speak. So, bottom line is, I need you guys to voice your opinion. Somehow, you got to let them know that Gettysburg School District does exist. And that team that they sent to my office sat there like deer in the headlights when I said, do you realize how much you're hurting these people? School tax is the big one, and you don't even know they exist. Shame on you. They didn't like me very much, but in any event, I can stop the state grants from going through. I think I have enough power, so to speak, for lack of a better term, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to stop the state grants, especially when DCNR, not that I'm getting too far off the tracks here, but DCNR came to us for more money this year in the budget because they needed to do renovations to parks. And then after the budget was done, they announced that they're going to open up 3 new parks. Wait a minute, you're going to open up 3 new parks, but you don't have enough money. You need more money to fix up the parks we already have, to renovate those. And now on top of that, I find out you're giving money away to take, using our tax money to take properties off the tax rolls. That's going to come back and hurt us, so other people here have to pay more taxes. And I'm going to also start a crusade with our local congressman to try to have those kinds of grants taken out of the federal budget as well. They want to fight, I'm going to give them a fight. But I need the people of Gettysburg and the Gettysburg School District to say, yep, this is too much. You're going to do this, that's fine, but you're going to pay up. You're going to make taxpayers whole. So you'll be hearing from me with letters and emails about this situation in the future. And I'm going to expect and hope that you all get behind it in a nice way. and say, yes, we agree, we need to make the taxpayers whole. If you're going to do this, you're going to be in this business, remember, pages of properties that they have taken off the tax rolls. Not that I have anything against what they're doing, but they need to make taxpayers whole. The final thing was charter school reform that we talked about. And again, I don't sit on education. I did call the chairman of education today, and he told me, he says, Dan, we have gotten absolutely no cooperation. That we've had bills. We've gotten no cooperation from the charter schools, and we've gotten no cooperation from the Department of Ed. They will not release the numbers. I said, what numbers are you talking about? Mainly it was the special education numbers proving how much they're actually spending on special education, because some of the numbers that I've seen that were just guesses put out there are astronomical. 3 and 4 times as much as it costs to educate a normal student here. I shouldn't use the word normal, you know what I mean. But this is a nut that's going to be really, really hard to crack. And then on top of that, and here's where I'm going to possibly offend somebody, I hope not. But in my caucus, okay, I will tell you that my caucus is starting to lean more and more and more towards school choice. Now, to board members of a school district, that's probably not good news. Because when you have school choice, and already you can choose to send your child to a charter school, and you lose roughly, rule of thumb, roughly 80% of the cost of education for that child in the school follows that child to the charter school or the cyber school. On a side note, many years ago, God, I've been in the House a long time, I actually put forth a bill that says, if your school provides a cyber service, that's the one that's for free. If you choose to send your child to another cyber school somewhere else, it would be considered a private school just like the lone Catholic, and you pay the tuition. I don't have a problem with that. But if you provide one here and you want your child to have cyber school, then that's the one that's for free. Well, I took quite a beating. I still have scars from that one. The cyber schools actually brought in busloads and marched them up and down my hallway in front of my office door, chanting with their signs that I hate education, I hate kids and all this. I don't. You guys know that. But, I tried. I finally gave up on that idea after about 3 terms of writing that bill and getting it rubbed in my face. But, I thought that was the right thing to do. But one of the reasons, there's 2 reasons why my caucus is leaning more towards school choice than any. First reason is, after looking into different situations over the years with failing school districts especially in the inner cities, we have a terrible one in York, that close to us, that had to be taken over by the state. But they are dotted in the urban areas all over the state. How do you tell someone that is too poor to get out that their children absolutely must go to that public school and get a bad education? That's the first reason. The second reason is what's going on in some of our schools is driving some parents away. I'm going to hold this up so that you can see it. Most of you have probably already seen it, but it's something when I read it, and a parent sent this to me. He said, the picture is very wrinkled up, but I printed it off of my email and printed it out. But this is the kind of thing that parents do not want in their school district. And somewhere along the line, we had Amnesty Spirit Week in Gettysburg School District. I'm going to assume that all of you knew this was happened here in Gettysburg. Somebody stamped it that it was approved. But when it comes to things like racism, I have 2 children, went through public school system where Al and I went. And I can tell you, those kids didn't care. My kids didn't care if you were purple. They only cared about what kind of a person you are. Were you somebody that gives respect so you can get respect? That's what they cared about. But to keep bringing it up and to go woke in our schools will drive parents away. And if I had a child in this school and my child came home with this saying, Dad, look what's going on in our school, this definitely would not have been the first school board meeting you would see me at. My kids are grown and gone. My grandkids go to other schools. But I can guarantee you that infuriates me. Because just Dan's opinion, that's not the teachers' jobs. That's not the school board's jobs. We need to stick to the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s and all that. But going down this road, you're pissing the parents off in a major, major fashion. And I don't know what woke teacher came up with this, but that teacher should be addressed and say, that's the last, if you want to work here. Are there any questions? Since I am your state representative, does anybody have a question about anything I've talked about?
Dan, unfortunately, we have a number of other things to get to, but let me just say this, and I'll speak for myself, and I think I'm speaking for most of the people on this board and probably in the audience here tonight. We appreciate all your efforts. I believe we're in pretty much alignment and agreement with just about everything you said tonight, even the issue of school choice. I think Gettysburg competes real well with other options that are out there, whether it be parochial, private, cyber, and so on. The issue that we really struggle with, and we need you to come back and educate us more on, in addition to the battlefield trust issues and taxpayer relief, but the overpayments to the charter schools and especially the cyber charters. And I admire and I really appreciate your legislation that you've had, that you took a lot of battle scars on.
Did I? Yeah.
But we, on behalf of us all here, we really appreciate your efforts and keep up the good works and keep up the good fight. But we'd love to have you come back, and we'd love to collaborate with you on several topics if that's open, if you're open to that.
I am always open to it. My door is open uptown. You guys know how to get a hold of me. I'm the easiest guy in the world to find, and you've got my number in 3 or 4 different ways. So, yeah. I'm here to serve you guys, so just let me know what I can do to help. And I really, really, really need you guys when it comes to this battlefield trust thing. I'm at war on that, and I'm not going to let up. I've been on it several years now, and I think I got them on the ropes.
Dan, keep passing along the messages and share with us any strategies whatsoever and how we can have your back and support you on that.
Well, it's going to, the next step will be to Congressman Joyce, Congressman Perry, and every other congressman I can think of, and they will get emails and letters saying enough is enough. These people are hurting our community. If they don't want to pay up to help make taxpayers whole, then the funding needs to stop. Think about it. They're using our tax dollars to buy property that makes our taxes go up. Something wrong with that story. Thank you all so very much. Appreciate you hearing me out tonight. And if you need me, you know how to get a hold of me. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Dan, and everyone else that spoke. At this time, I'm turning things back over to the board secretary, Belinda.
At this time, from our holdover membership, we must elect a temporary president whose term shall exist only till the president is elected later in the agenda. Nominations are now in order for the office of temporary president of this reorganization meeting. Do I hear any nominations?
Belinda, I nominate Al Moyer.
I second that.
Do I hear any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye by signifying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
So obviously it was a unanimous vote.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you. So at this time, Mr. Al Moyer is declared as our elected temporary president. Therefore, I will be resuming my seat over there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay there, Melinda. Thank you, everyone, for your support for this position. At this time, nominations are now in order for the office of board president. Do I hear any nominations?
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Kenny Hessinger for president.
I second.
Are there, I'm sorry.
Can you tell, was that Mr. Dickerson?
This is Mr. Morris.
Mr. Morris, I just want to make sure for the roll.
Thank you, Lee. Are there any other nominations? If there are no more nominations, a motion to close nominations are now in order. All those in favor of the motion to close nominations for the nominee shall signify by saying aye. All opposed signify by saying no. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
I'm sorry.
No.
All opposed? Gotcha. The ayes have it.
You were just closing the floor for nominations, correct? We haven't actually elected the
Oh, I'm sorry.
president. I want to
Right,
make sure,
right.
right? Okay. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so make sure that now we would have a motion and a second to actually elect the president.
Right.
Mr. President, can I make a motion to elect, or cast a vote to elect our president?
You may. Do we have a second?
Second.
Very good. We will now have a roll call vote for the office of board president. Please state yes to vote for the candidate or no if you are not in favor of the candidate. Roll call vote. Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes. Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Yes.
Al, I think you forgot me. I'll vote yes.
And
I think I'll vote yes.
and Kenny, go ahead one more time.
Yes.
Yes, that vote is approved, and congratulations, Mr. Hassinger.
Thank you.
I think you take over now.
Yeah. Nominations are now in order for the board vice president. Do I hear any nominations?
I would like to nominate Mr. Mike Dickerson for the position of vice president.
I'll second that.
Are there any additional nominations? Seeing there's no additional nominations, the motion to close nominations is now in order. May I have a motion to close?
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor of closing the nomination signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying no.
No.
The motion carries. Mike Dickerson has been nominated by the board as board vice president. I will call roll call for a vote. Mike?
Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
No.
Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The next order of business is the approval of the solicitor. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Hearing no question, roll call. Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 6, newspaper of record. The board to discuss and take action on request to adopt Gettysburg Times as newspaper of record for the Gettysburg Area School District. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a
Second.
question? Roll call. Michelle?
Yes.
Ryan?
No.
Mike?
No.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Michelle?
You already asked me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tim?
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Meeting dates to approve, discuss and take action on request of the established dates, times, place for the 2023 monthly public board meetings. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Roll call. Amy Beth,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Number 8, state and federal laws. The board to discuss and take action on the request to agree to follow the state and federal laws, regulations, and standards, Gettysburg Area School District contracts, and Gettysburg Area School District policy manual. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments? Question? Roll call. Mike?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Amy Beth?
Yes.
Timon?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. PSBA Legislative Chairperson, the board to discuss and take action on request to select a legislative chairperson for the 2023 calendar year. May I have a motion?
Mr. President.
Mike?
Is there a motion on the floor?
There is not a motion on the floor. It's, and you have to,
Kenny, are you looking for somebody to nominate a specific person to serve in that role?
yes.
Yeah. So the nomination is not necessary, or motion, I'm sorry, is not, is to nominate someone to serve in that role.
Or is it
It
no?
says to select a PSB.
Okay, so nominations would be open. I phrased that wrong.
Correct, yeah. I just
Okay.
wanted- So, Mike, yes, go ahead, if you wanted to nominate.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Al Moyer.
I'll second that.
Are there additional nominations? Hearing none. Roll call. Mike,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
No.
Timon,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes. Number 10, York Adams Tax Bureau Representatives. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question? Roll call. Jeremy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Amy Beth,
Yes.
Timon,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
and I vote yes. May I have a motion to adjourn the reorganization, and we'll immediately go into the December 5th school board meeting.
So moved.
Motion.
So moved.
All right. We stand adjourned on the reorganization meeting, and I call the December 5th Board of School Directors meeting to order. The purpose of the meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Public comment is welcome, and issues will be referred to the appropriate board, committee, or administrator. Comments will be summarized in the official board members, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment to silence your cell phone or any electronic devices. All members are present and accounted for as we speak. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dave, there was no additional citizens' participation, am I correct? Thank you. Routine approvals 5.1 through 5.5. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question. Hearing no question, roll call. Amy Beth.
Yes?
Tim.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Michelle.
Yes.
Timon.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
Al.
Yes.
And I vote yes. That's passed. I'm going to take a moment and turn the meeting over to Dr. Perrin for a brief introduction.
Sure. I'd like to, looking around, see where we are. There, in the back. Welcome Dr. Jeff Matzner to the Gettysburg Area School District, his wife Megan, and his son William. And they will be joining us. Dr. Matzner is currently a middle school principal in the Central Dauphin School District, so we'll go through. He'll be going through a little bit of a transition there. So we hope to have him on board at the beginning of February. And Dr. Lay has graciously agreed to extend her retirement deadline for a little while to help with the transition before Dr. Matzner comes on board. We're really, really excited to have Dr. Matzner with us. We know that he'll be a fantastic contributor to the district and to the community, and I'd like to thank his family for sharing him with us. All right, welcome.
Returning to the agenda, number 6, the items for board action, 6.1, policy 918, the parent and family engagement. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Question. Roll call. Michelle.
Yes.
Ryan.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Amy Beth.
Yes.
Al.
Yes.
Timon.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Any informational items? Board committee reports, anyone? Mike, if you're still there, because I may lose you, I think you said, policy meeting is when? When's policy meeting?
Yes. Next Tuesday, December 13th at 4 p.m. in the administration building.
Thank you.
I also have a very big thank you to Representative Dan Mao for coming out and answering some of the questions that had been asked of him. He certainly was extremely eloquent and answered those questions to the best of his ability. I've looked forward each month to meeting with him and talking about the important things that are happening in the House. So I just wanted to make sure that I reached out and had him come in, answer questions. It's been a delight to work with him. It was nice to see you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional, Tim?
No.
Program reports?
Just a couple calendar reminders. This Friday, December 9th, half-day for professional development, secondary dismissal 11, elementary noon. Also December 22nd, half-day, same dismissal times. Winter break, December 23rd to January 2nd, and school will resume on January 3rd, but only after an enjoyable, restful break for everybody. It's not going to snow this year either.
The next school board meeting will be January 17th, 2023. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We stand adjourned.